In this video, we are going to learn how to set up Ubuntu 18.04 VM in Azure Cloud, and we will also learn how to set up SonarQube on that Ubuntu 18.04 VM, which is hosted in Azure Cloud. Awesome. So let's get started. So this is my website, coachdevops.com, and we will be referring two different articles. So first one is, this is the one we are going to refer in order to spin up a VM in Azure Cloud. And then once we have this VM available, and then we are going to refer this particular article where we are going to set up SonarQube. Okay, so let's go step by step. If you see here, yes, I have already logged into Azure portal. This is where we are going to create the VM. And if you actually see, the default port number for SonarQube is 9000. Okay, so we need to open up port number 9000 for SonarQube to run. Okay, so while spinning up the VM, we will also configure or we will open port number 9000 in that VM. Okay, awesome. So let's get started. So let me go into Azure portal. So click on virtual machines and click on add virtual machine. Okay, so I am actually under pay as you go model. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead with the option. Okay, so if you see here, I am under pay as you go subscription, so I'm going to go with that option. Okay, and if you are under free, I think if you are under free subscription, you can select that option, right? But I'm okay here, right? So I'm going to go ahead with this option. And then we need to select the resource group. So I'm going to say my resource group, right? Okay, say okay. So basically resource group is nothing but, you can group all your resources under a logical name, right? And here we have to give a name. I'm going to give like my Sonar VM, and region I'm going to pick up the one where I close by. So this is the one. Okay, so that's fine. Since this is the demo instance, I'm going to leave it everything as it is. And here we need to select the size of the VM, right? So let's look into all the sizes. Okay, so basically I need to have at least 2 GB RAM. So I think this is good enough. You see here? Okay, so I'm going to go with this option. Select that one and then say select. Okay, and then we need to create SSH keys, right? So I'm going to go with all these default options, so that's fine. And this is where we need to select the port number. Yes, so port 22 is by default open, and of course we need to open port 9000 also, but we will open after we spin up the VM. Okay, so for now everything looks good. And see here, we have selected Ubuntu 18.04, so that is also there, so perfect. Okay. Okay, let's see why this is red. I think that's fine. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and then say review and create. So this is going to quickly check if everything is good. Okay, so the validation passed. Let's go ahead and create it. Okay, so here we have to download the private key, right? So I'm going to go ahead and then download the private key. Okay, save. And then it is in the process of spinning up the VM. It might take, a minute or two. Awesome. So the VM got created. So let's go to home and click on virtual machines. Wow, see here, this is the VM, right? So what else we need to do? So let's select the VM. We also need to open up port 9000 as well. So let's go to networking. Okay, click on add inbound port rule. And So any is fine, and we need to give the port number, which is 9000. So that is also fine. So I'm going to change this to 9000. Okay, perfect. I think this is good. Okay, I think rest I'm going to leave it as it is, and then here I'm going to change into 9000. Okay, perfect. Let's go ahead and then click on add. Okay, so as you can see, it is in the process of opening up port number 9000. We should be able to see here shortly. Okay, so this was able to create. Let me click on here and then click on here. Where is that? Okay, see it? Now we are able to see it. Okay, perfect. So let's go ahead and then connect to this EC2, this VM, right? Let's click on connect, SSH, and then this is how we are going to connect to it, right? So let me go to my local machine. Let me go to my iTown. So I'm in the downloads directory, and I already have the key, right? But we need to go ahead and then let's actually see the key name. I think the key name is, we gave something like my sonar, right? Let's see. Yeah, this is the one, right? So that's the key name. Okay, so what we need to do, we need to make sure the key is not publicly viewable, right? So we need to go ahead and then execute that command. Okay, so we need to make sure the key only has what, read only access, right? So let's go ahead and then say this and then give the key name, which is that. Perfect. Now what we can do, we can go ahead and then we should be able to connect to that instance. So I'm going to say SSH and then let's see -i and then give the key name, which is this, and then we are going to say Azure user @ we are going to give the IP address of that. Okay, and then say yes. Perfect. So here now we are inside the VM, right? So everything is good, right? So basically this part is complete. Okay, so we were able to spin up the VM and then we are able to connect to the VM, right? So now what we can do, we can actually start the SonarQube installation, right? Awesome. So let's get started. If you actually see here, right? Yes, SonarQube is a Java-based application. It is an open source. This also has a database component as well. Okay. So if you look at the architecture, right? So this is the SonarQube architecture, right? So which is the scanner here, and then this is more like a SonarQube, the UI application, right? This is SonarQube application, and then this comes with the database component. Okay. So what we are going to do first is, yes, we are going to go ahead and then install Java, and then we are going to set up the SQL part of it. We are going to use Postgres Sql, which is the open source. Once that is done, we are going to create a username and password and then set up the database schema. And then we are going to configure a SonarQube application, right? And then we are going to connect to it. So this is what we are going to do. All right, so let's get started. So like I mentioned, this is a Java-based tool, right? So what we need to do is we need to go ahead and then install Java. So this is the command. So I'm kind of performing sudo apt-get update as well as installing Java as well. Fantastic. So Java got installed. Let's quickly check the version. So we are good, right? So okay, great. So let's continue. We are going to start with Postgres Sql installation. So this is the command. Okay, I'm going to download the key and then install it. Okay, so this this should install the Postgres Sql's. Okay, Awesome. So Postgres SQL got installed. Let's quickly go ahead and then start it. Perfect. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to connect, or I'm going to switch as Postgres user, and then what we need to do is we need to create a user called Sonar, because what we are going to do, if you look at this diagram, we are going to configure a username and password here, and then we are also going to go ahead and then set up a database schema so that SonarQube server can communicate with the database, right? So that's what we are going to do. Okay, so I have already created the user, and then I'm going to log in inside the Postgres SQL. So this is the command psql. So let's go ahead and then set up a password for the user Sonar. So I'm just kind of putting a very simple password, but in a real-time scenario you're going to follow whatever the password policy your company is recommending, right? And then I'm creating a schema called SonarQube schema, and then I'm assigning Sonar user to that schema, and then I'm going to go ahead and then executing this command. This is going to give all the privileges for that user on that schema, right? So I'm done here, and then press this command to come out of it, and then I'm going to type exit to come out back to Azure user prompt, right? Fantastic, right? So now we have set up our Postgres SQL configuration. Now what we are going to do, we are going to go ahead and then download SonarQube software. So how do you know the what version to use, right? So if we actually go to Google, if we type SonarQube download, okay, so basically this is the one, right? So they have several options, but which one we are going to install? We are going to go ahead and then download the open source one. Okay, when you click on here, it's going to allow you to download the zip file, right? So this is a zip file. So if you see here, this is 8.7.1, but I think if you see here, we are downloading slightly older version of it. Okay, so but it doesn't matter. Okay, I don't think there is a huge difference between 8.6 and then 8.7. Okay, but let's go ahead and then download this one. Okay, so it is going to come as a zip file, as you can see. Okay, so now it got downloaded over here. So let's go ahead and then install unzip utility. I don't think it is there. If you actually type unzip, yeah, see, it's not there, right? So let's go ahead and then install that. Okay, fantastic. And then we are going to go ahead and then extract the zip file. I'm going to. So let's go ahead and then extract the zip file. I'm going to directly extract into the OPT folder. Okay, so this is done. And then if you see here, okay, so not here. If you go into OPT folder, yeah, see here, so it has created this folder, right? So what we are going to do, I'm going to rename that folder. Okay, so that is the command. So I renamed as SonarQube. Okay, so fantastic, right? So everything is good. Now what we are going to do, yes, we have to create a username. Everything is good now. So let's continue on the next step. We have to set up a group, right? So that group is called Sonar Group. Okay, why we have to do that? Let me quickly show you. If you do see here, so this is a SonarQube folder, right? So who has permission? The root user has privileges, right? But you cannot start SonarQube as a root user. Okay, so we have to start SonarQube as a Sonar user or any user other than root. We have already created a user called Sonar user right here. So we are going to use this user for starting the SonarQube service. Okay, and we are also going to add a group called Sonar Group. Okay, once we do that, we are going to give permission for that group name as well as the username for that particular folder, right? This particular folder, SonarQube folder. So once I execute this command, you see here, now the privileges have been changed, right? The ownership got changed. Okay, fantastic. And then we are going to modify the sonar.property file. Okay, sonar.property file, actually, it is inside this conf folder. And of course you can also see here, right? If we go inside SonarQube, if we go inside conf folder, okay, so this is the file, right? So this is the file which has all the configuration information, everything, right? So let's go ahead and then edit that file. Okay, let me do that as a sudo user. Okay, so this is a very important file. This has all the configuration the SonarQube need in order to connect to the database. So if you all remember, we created a user as Sonar and then password as password. So we have to go ahead and then give that, and then we also need to either you can modify this entry or you can add the entry just like how I have. This is nothing but you need to tell or you need to mention the JDBC URL, right? So like how SonarQube can communicate or connect with Postgres SQL database, right? So basically, since we have installed Postgres SQL in the same VM, we are mentioning as localhost, and then this is the SonarQube schema which we had created earlier, right? So that's all. Okay, and then just in case if you want to change the port number, so let me quickly show you. 9000, right? So the default port is 9000, right? So that is the default value. So just in case if you want to change it, you can modify here. Okay, all you have to do is just enable this option over here, and then you just have to modify. Since we are not going to modify from 9000 into something else, so I'm going to leave it like that, right? So this is going to use port number 9000 by default. Okay, so that's how we are going to change the port number, right? Okay, so that's all, right? Only 3 changes in this particular file. So I'm going to come out of it and edit. I'm going to come out of it. All right, so we are done with that. And then what else we have to do? Yes, we need to modify this particular file, okay, where we need to mention we are going to run SonarQube as a Sonar user, right? So we need to modify this entry. Okay, so just enable that option and then come out of it, escape:\wq. So that's pretty much done over there. And then we need to configure SonarQube to run as a service. Okay, why? Because by default, when you install SonarQube, let's say you are stopping this EC2 in let's say you are stopping this VM and then restarting it, and unless you configure to run as a service, the SonarQube service will not be starting, right? So in order to avoid that, okay, so we are going to configure SonarQube to run as a service. So this is the command, right? So I have already opened up this file, systemd file, and then let's copy and paste it. So basically you have all this information, right? The startup script and then start script, everything, right? And then all this thing, username, group name, and everything. Okay, and then we need to configure one additional change, I mean 2 more changes. So basically from the latest version of SonarQube, right? I think anything after version 7, you need to make this change also. So the file descriptor and everything, you need to provide that. So let's modify that and then come out of it, and then we also need to modify this file as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and then put these 2 entries. Perfect. Okay, and then what we are going to do, we are going to go ahead and then start the SonarQube service, right? So let me say start, and then let's check this, and I'm going to check the status of that. Okay, so right now it says that SonarQube is started. And how do you know that whether this is starting or not? Okay, so there is the log file, okay, so which is under a SonarQube folder. You see here, right? So this is the log file where it is going to write. Okay, so let's tail that. Okay, so it says that wrapper started. Okay, so there are some errors. Okay, I know why these errors are coming. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to restart. Okay, we need to restart. I know I'm saying here AWS console, but again same thing, right? The instruction is same for both AWS as well as Azure. So we need to restart the VM. Let's go ahead and then restart the VM. How do you do that? Let's go to Azure portal, click on my Sonar VM. Okay, so either you can restart or you can stop and start. Okay, but let me do more cleaner way. Go ahead and then start it. Okay, it's just successfully started. I think, let's see. I think I should be able to connect to it. Oh, okay. Let me see if the IP address got changed. No, I think let me try again. Okay, there you go. See here? Now I'm able to connect. Actually, go and check the log file, right? Let's see here. Okay. Wow. See here? I think it's trying to come up. As you can see here, it says that process is up. Yeah, it will definitely take few seconds. Okay. Wow. See here? Now it says that SonarQube is up. Okay. So we should be able to access that in the browser, right? So copy the public IP address, go to the browser and then say 9000. Wow, see here? So this is our SonarQube landing page. Let's go with the default username, which is admin. Click on login. So that is a default username, admin. See here, it is asking us to immediately change the password. So I'm going to put admin and then change into something else. So you can give any password and then click on update. Wow, see here, so this is our landing page for SonarQube, right? So yeah, so that's it guys, that's how you set up SonarQube in Azure Cloud. Thank you for watching.